Speaking to me now is the former WBO super featherweight champion of the world, Barry Jones. Barry, how does a boy go from Ely, Cardiff to commentating on some of the biggest fights in the world, like the World Heavyweight Championship, for example?
It's surreal. It really is. It's nothing that, it was never an aspiration of mine. Listen, just to be boxer was all I wanted, to be a champion. I didn't want to be, I thought I wanted to be a world champion. I thought I'd get there, you know, they're just any sort of champion, and things just snowballed from there, and then winning a world title. And sort of the way my career ended was a little bit sad for me personally. And then I sort of drifted away out of the sport, and just by a bit of luck and a bit of chance, I got into that Box Nation and did an okay job apparently, but so I was told, and then it just went from there. And yeah, and that's it. And I've just been, I wouldn't say living the dream as such, but yeah, it's been it's been a whole career change for me, and something that I love to do. I love the sport, and anyone, yourself, anyone who's been boxed or been around boxing will tell you it's their first love, and like any first love, you can never really stay away from it, and that's the thing with boxing. It's my first love of my life before girls and whatever else I was interested in. Boxing was my love, and it's still in my life now, and I'm so glad for it. I was there for a long-winded answer.
Excellent, Barry, excellent. As you know yourself, the short answers are difficult answers. You mentioned the end of your boxing career there. I mean, am I right in saying I think it was a brain scan sort of forced your hand to a certain extent?
Yeah, it did, yeah. I had an irregularity with my brain scan when I just won the world title, so I never got a chance to defend it. Sort of showed that there was nothing really seriously wrong, or if anything wrong at all. And it was really the unknown, so I got my licence back. But I was out for 2 years, missed out on what I felt was a lot of money at that time. And because of that, when I did get the challenge for my old title back, so I never got to defend it, I came up against a pretty good fighter in ACELINO FREITAS, who absolutely leathered me from pillar to post, to be honest, for 6 rounds. But before that, the fact that I was chasing the money, before all the brain scan stuff, obviously money was always a factor, but never my main motivation. I just loved the sport. I still worked. Up until I won the world title, I still had the job. So boxing was something I did as an amateur. I loved it as a pro. I was never aggressive. I just loved the whole being around it, the fitness and you know, and the chess match like of the sport rather than the physicality of it in many ways. So I just loved the sport, and so then it became about the money. I was chasing the money that I thought I lost, and then that was enough. I had another little query over my scan, not a change, not nothing to stop me from boxing possibly. There was another query again, and I thought I can't go through this again. And my last fight at 25, I guess 26 years of age, I was out of the sport.
You mentioned FREITAS there. I mean, if people Google your name, which I guess a lot of people do just to catch up with your career, I mean, that's the fight that probably comes up first, I'm guessing. Yeah. But a lot of people don't realise how good a fighter he was at the time, and he was a bit of he had a bit of a puncher aura around him, the same way sort of Golovkin, that type of.
Yeah, well, I think at the time, I think he got to about maybe 29-0 before he went the distance. But when I boxed him, I think he was 23 or 24-0. I think I hadn't been past 6 rounds, and yeah, and it was a frightening prospect. But I'd never been on the floor in my life, in my entire life, amateur, pro, sparring, never been hit down. So I thought, no, listen, he's got to knock me out. You know, I can't see if he can beat me on points. That's what I do. And I did say before the fight, quite honestly, I thought at 23 years of age, 25 years of age, we'll know when the first big shot he hits me with, if I'm still on my feet, he can't beat me. If I'm on the floor, then we know who the winner's going to be. And to be honest, the first big shot he hit me with, I was on my backside, and that's how the fight went. 6 more knockdowns later and 8 rounds of pummeling, and then my father emotionally threw the towel in, maybe about 4 rounds too late. But it's funny because it was my only defeat and my biggest defeat, and the first time I've been down 6 times in one fight. But the proudest moment in my career, because even though I didn't win, I got knocked down 6 times, and it's almost embarrassing. I got up 6 times, and I'm proud of that, because as a man, you know, you want to be able to prove that you could. I knew I had skill, but I'd never taken a hiding. I knew I could take a decent shot, but I'd never really been beat up. But so you want to almost know, without knowing, that you can take your lumps and get up, and I think I proved it that night. And so I was proud of myself after the fact, after all the crying and the disappointment of never boxing again and losing a world title, that I actually took a hiding and got up 6 times, even though I got knocked down. So I went away with a bit of that, and the fact that he went on to be such a good fighter after, sort of was nice for me, that he wasn't just a flash in the pan. He was one of the biggest punchers, one of the best probably super featherweights that there has been. Not the best, but one of them.
And then you sort of disappeared. I mean, Wales is a very small boxing community, so everyone tends to know each other. And you sort of disappeared from the Welsh boxing scene for quite a long time, and then you popped up a number of years later on Box Nation, it seemed.
Well, I moved away. I think I had my last fight in January 2000. I think in September 2000, maybe earlier, I moved to London. And I don't know why. I was going out with a girl and she was a dancer. We just had maybe more work for her, and we just went. And I had my purse money with me, and I had no career path or anything. I just went and said, let's go. Moved to Hammersmith and then moved to Twickenham, and now I'm living in a place just a bit further out in Surrey. And I just stayed there. That's what 19 years now going on. So yeah, I've just moved away and kept away from it. And I think I did the right thing. I kept away from the sport because boxing's so addictive, as you know yourself, that once you're around the gyms, once you're around fighters, you want to box again. And the temptation is always too great. Especially, you know, I retired. I had my last fight at 25. I only got my man strength at 28. So, you know, at 28 I was at my peak. So I would have come back. So the fact that I was away doing another job, I was a publican for a while, and that just kept me out of the limelight. Luckily I don't drink, so you know I wasn't abusing my body, so I was in good shape. I'm not in good shape, but the fact that I never weighed over 10 stone until I got to about 32. And I boxed at 9'4", which I was too small for, of course. I should have been 8'10" really, but I boxed super featherweight. I never weighed over 10 stone, and considering the guy I boxed in my last fight, FREITAS, was probably 11 stone on the night I boxed him, so I was naturally a small guy, so I could have boxed again possibly, you know, but I just did the right thing, stay away from the gyms, because, you know, was I going to be a world champion again? I very much doubt it. What was I going to do? Was I going to win millions? No. So it was just been to try and be that little bit in the spotlight, and I was never in it for that. It was always for the wrong reasons, you know, and I did the sport because I loved the sport, and now I'm doing this job. I can look back that I chased a dream in my 20s, which is all these young kids here in the background warming up. You know, they're all in, they're all young guys, they're chasing a dream, and it won't, and probably for all of them, or 90% of it won't happen for them. They won't get where they want to go. And they'll look back and they'll be disappointed. Once they get a bit older, they'll go, do you know what? I went for it. I didn't make it, whatever, but I went for it. And I can always get a job doing something. You can always do something else in your life. But when you're young, there's a small window where you can try and achieve your lifetime ambition, something that you love. You know, and to go for it is not only a fabulous thing, it's a brave thing to do. And these kids are doing it. And if they can make it, then, and the money in the sport right now as well, for if they get to the top, then it's fantastic for them.
One thing I think has changed a lot in boxing since your day is the internet is one thing, and the explosion in the number of shows, especially here in Wales. Because it was only maybe 5-6 years ago when there was only really Sammy Sims putting shows on. Now it's probably 3 or 4 different promoters giving all guys like we got tonight opportunities. Well,
I remember going back in, what was it, 93, 94, when Steve Robinson won the world title. And I remember saying that, you know, we'd always had the talent in Wales, that's never been disputed. But we'd never had the opportunities. And obviously when Steve Robinson was on a roll, defending his world title, you know, numerous 7 or 8 times successfully, then we were getting opportunities because there were shows coming back here. But they were the only real shows. And to be fair, like I had my first 4 fights in the Star Ledge Centre, it's no longer here anymore, in Sprott. So, you know, I was getting regular work in Cardiff, and Eubank came here a couple of times, I got work there, and then the emergence of Joe Kazak. So the 90s, we started to get a bit of decent shows, but you know, so we could show that we had ability, we had talent, you know, and there's fighters like me, Joe, obviously Robbie and Steve before us, and then Gary Lockett, another fighter, Enzo Mack, and there was the prices, and we'd go on forever, you know, we've done well, but I think that the last sort of 10 years has been devoid of any sort of real quality allowed to come through. But now MTK especially, to be honest, are investing in Welsh boxing, and I think if Jay Harris come in tonight, that means that brings another big show back here, and that's important for the kids on the undercard, and you know, to get some exposure, get some more fights, and regular work. Inactivity kills your career more than anything else. More than bad living, inactivity just ruins it. Because if you're not fighting, you're not interested, and you'll filter away from the sport. And we've seen it with so many Welsh. Where's Gareth Lawrence? Remember Gareth Lawrence? One of the best amateurs we ever produced, disappeared. Russell Reese, all these kids are my age, and both undefeated pros, top class amateurs, would have made real statements as professionals, just disappeared because there was no investment in the sport. Now we're getting it. It just has to be maintained, and that means you people at home have to buy tickets. No, you have to. The support. The reason I boxed at home is because I sold lots of tickets, thanks to my dad and my brother. You know, they sold lots of tickets on my behalf, but they still sold lots of tickets, so people will come. People come, you can draw a crowd. Promoters can earn money, they'll come back, and that's the sad way of the sport. That's how it works. So, as much as you want to watch it on TV, so I have a job. You gotta get to the live fights. You gotta support your fighters. You gotta support them with your bodies. With your turn up to the shows, cheer them on, make a good atmosphere. So promoters go, Wales is a place where we can promote and we can earn money.
You mentioned you working in your boxing there. I mean, of course, you got into boxing via Box Nation as a pundit with Steve Bunce on the Boxing Hour, and also as a commentator, probably not just blowing wind up your backside, but he probably regarded as one of the best commentators in British boxing today. I mean, I've done a bit of commentary, and I've looked back at some of the things I've said. I thought, why did I say that? Because sounds.
I couldn't make it. The World Championships, I couldn't make it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But people watching, and I've done it myself, think, God, it's easy being a commentator, but it's not as simple as it looks.
No, first of all, when you have a strong regional accent, which obviously mine's probably not as strong as yours, but it's to the other people around the country, it's really strong. It's slowing down your words, which I'm from Cardiff, so we talk incredibly fast. So having to slow down your words so people can understand what you're saying, and speaking louder than you normally would. These things no one teaches you that you have to learn on your way up, and also having to say what you see. And it sounds easy, but you have to. And I think I would tell anyone who wants to be a co-commentator or a commentator like yourself that switch off your phone, don't look at social media. That will change your mind on a fight and make you worry about what you say. Just be honest. You might get it wrong. Just be honest and be impartial. I'm doing Welsh fighters. I don't favour any Welsh fighter, and I purposely, even if I know and I like them, I cannot. So if I think they've lost, they've lost. If it's a close fight, I think they've lost, they've lost. And if I think it's a very close fight, but they've lost every round, my scorecard looks ridiculous. That's how I've seen it. I can't be anything but honest. So I think some people respect that, other people just go, what's this kid watching? But if you're honest to yourself, then that's all you can be. And so it's a difficult job, but I'm not digging ditches. Do you know what I mean? I've had a hard job since I retired from boxing. I'm not toiling. Sorry. I'm not sweating my brains out. I'm literally I'm sitting ringside, the best seat in the house, to watch the sport that I lived all my life, and I get to chat a little bit. And so it's a blessing. I got to be honest.
What's it like commentating on the World Heavyweight Championship? Obviously Wilder and Fury back in last December.
It was just phenomenal. The fight wasn't the fight that people remember. Because that last round just changed the whole concept of the fight. But it was a good fight. I thought it was an entertaining fight. I thought Fury boxed tremendously well, and Wilder did what he always did, but struggled to close the distance. So it was just the atmosphere. Being in some of these big fights, I did Canelo Golovkin twice. Being there around all these. And by the way, you got Julio Cesar Chavez sat in front of you, Juan Manuel Marquez, Pereira. All these, you're like, it's just this can't be right. Look what I'm surrounded by. It's just weird. It's a weird concept to have. So and you're peers with them almost, in many ways. So that's weird. It's surreal, but not always the big fights are the best fights to commentate on. Sometimes, and also not always the best fights to watch are the best fights for me to commentate on, because if it's like Hagler Hearns, one of the best 3-round fights in the history of the sport, that'd be no good for me, because what technical input can I give? Really, what technical input can I give to them? So that's my job, to say what he should be doing with his feet or his hands or whatever. Like that, you just go, hit him back. Some of those wars, they're not always great to work, they're just great to be there. Some of the other fights that are not so exciting, then I enjoy that, because I can say, like the Fury fights, you can see some of the stuff he did, that he was doing that double feint with the foot. Now you might not have noticed, and I was hoping I was showing people, listen, he's doing the double feint, and Wilder can't throw because he's waiting for something to come back, waiting too long and missing his opportunity. And so it was a clever work like that. There's some things that is my job to pick up, and I hope I do that, and that's what I try and do.
And of course, there was it's online if people want to look at it. The famous reaction to Fury getting dropped in that 12th round. I mean, you sort of that was just an automatic reaction.
Well, their corner was right next to us, our commentary position. So you got the red corner there, the away team. So you got Ben Davison and Ricky Hatton there as well, and also Freddie Roach. And I've just looked at him and I've just gone, he's gone. He wasn't getting up. No, in a million years. Well, he obviously did, but you wouldn't put any money on he was going to get up, because he was gone. I could see his eyes roll the back of his head. And it was just, he's done. And I was gutted. I'm not a Tyson Fury fan. I'm not a fan. I have no bias. So I want him to win slightly because he's British. But I got to be impartial. And he was winning, but he was winning the fight so clearly. That's why I was disappointed, because he boxed so well. He was so disciplined, except for that little blip in the 9th round, and he was dominating the fight. On the scorecards for me by a million miles. So for him to think he get knocked out right at the very end, when he was so close to the finishing line, it brought us on despair, you know what I mean? And I was disappointed. I was genuinely gutted for the man, but then he got up. I don't know how. I don't know. And to this day, I won't know how he got up. And I think that endeared him to the fans. Because I think, you know, he was still a bit Marmite and a bit stale Marmite, to be honest, where a lot of people, more people disliked him than liked him because of his antics. But that took a shift, because obviously Joshua is the poster boy for British boxing and world boxing, maybe, and rightly so, because he says everything. He's perfect, Joshua. You can't. How can you not like Anthony Joshua? Everything he says is right. He's really, you know, he's fan friendly. He's really warm to fans when they go around him. He's a great ambassador for the sport. So Fury wasn't really, but that last round changed it. It really changed the landscape totally for him, and now we have a real situation in the heavyweight division where not only who can beat who's the most likeable out of the two now all of a sudden.
I think as well a question the fans want is, will Fury, Wilder or Joshua, will they ever face each other?
Well, according to reports yesterday, Wilder and Fury is supposed to be signed for next summer or early next year, so spring I would presume, probably April. If that happens, I don't know, you know, but because they say one thing a lot of the time and then the total opposite happens. But you think they have to. I think, you know, with different TV stations, the problem you've got with DAZN is that, and it's fantastic because everyone's getting overpaid. So for boxers, it's brilliant, and you know, and the more boxing, the better. But PBC or Showtime, or whatever they're called, and ESPN, they can do a co-promotion pay-per-view like they have in the past with HBO and Showtime. I can't see how DAZN, because they're not on TV as such, I can't see how they do it, how they share. I don't think if they have the capability of sharing it with anyone else. If they can, then I think all these fights can be made. If they can, and Joshua is signed to DAZN, then they have to go to him. I don't know if he is signed long term. I don't know what the situation is, but if he is, they have to go to him. So the fact that these TV companies have signed these fighters up very quickly is a smart move for them, because they think they have a bargaining tool. Because at the end of the day, it's all about people earning money. The fighters, for us most importantly, but for TV execs, it's about what they can get out of it. And that's their job. You can't blame them for that. They don't mean they're sharks because they do that. That's their life. That's their living. So you know, they have to do what's best for themselves. They sign these fighters up to long deals. Fury's on an 8-fight deal. Though it's only worth one fight, because if he gets beat in one fight, then that deal's done, of course. But he doesn't get beat June the 15th for me. I find that massively impossible. But hopefully he gets Wilder next. I think the fact that I wanted to be, it should have been next straight away. Yeah. You know what I mean? And don't lose any momentum. But the fact that Joshua does a good job tonight. Now he's boxing tonight, of course, in New York, and he will do a good job. I think it's a relatively awkward fight for him, but he should win quite comfortable. He does a good job tonight, and then I think that just helped build it up.
What's your favourite fight you've commentated on, or the one that means the most to you?
Well, none of them mean anything to me. I'm just so callous now. None of them mean.
The money and fame has gone to your head, Barry.
I don't know I don't think I got either, to be honest. But yeah, the two nights really stand out for me, and they weren't great. One was a good fight, one wasn't a great fight, but it was just a great atmosphere, and it wasn't even a pack. It was in Leeds. When was it? Oh God, 2014, maybe 15, and I haven't been doing the job too long, and it was maybe 13 then, and it was Stewie Hall winning the world title in Leeds, and it was half empty, the arena. It was just a great night, and I don't know what about it made it a great night.
I think it was December time, when it was just before Christmas.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, but he boxed really well, and I just thought, you know what, this is a kid like me who should be nowhere near a world title, and he's pulled it off. And I don't know him, but I loved him for that, and I loved him. And the other one was in the studio, where it was me, Bunce, and Gary Logan when Andy Lee knocked out Korobov. That we were all up. It was just what a night. And I know Andy a little bit more now, but I didn't know him. I was just so invested in him. He's such a nice guy, you could tell. His whole demeanour just says I'm a lovely guy. I was so invested in that fight that when we were jumping up, we were hugging each other. It was just it was just brilliant. But the best show we did a show in Bulgaria. We did it off tube, so we did it in the London studio, of course, me and John Rawlin on tube, and there was the guys in the studio, which is right next to us, by the way, and it was just the worst bit of boxing you've ever seen in your life. It was like in a school hall, and if you can find it on YouTube, maybe an old Box Nation show from 2000, maybe 14, 13, it was just such a funny night. We didn't even try and disguise how bad the boxing was. We just made a joke about it. That was one of the funniest nights we've had. It really was.
I think that's one thing that's refreshing, perhaps with Box Nation. I know Steve Bunce has got a very relaxed style, and you, to be fair, you sort of keep Steve in line quite often when he goes off on a tangent. But I think Box Nation and BT Sport as well, you tend to be more less corporate, if you like. You don't tend to, Sky tend to be very much stick with the Sky fighters and promote the Sky fighters, which I know is their job, but you seem to say it as it is.
Maybe we get a little bit more leeway. I don't know how Sky works. Listen, you can't underestimate what Sky's done for British boxing. Not unless I know I'm a BT guy of sorts. I'm not contracted to them, of course, but I do work all their boxing, and I love it. And they've been good to me. I gotta be. I saw with Box Nation. That really changed my life. And Frank Warren changed my life, bless him. But Sky have been so important in boxing, and they still are to this day. And the fact that Box Nation came on and BT, it's made Sky up their game, and that's great for the sport, of course. Me, I don't know if they're told. We're not told anything behind the scenes what not to say or what to say. And I can tell you that honestly, we don't get told anything. Or Frank Warren with Box Nation, people make their own ideas. Maybe others do. I haven't. I can't speak for anyone else, but I've never been told anything. Just to be honest. Listen, you have a consensus in your mind, obviously not to be stupid, but you can talk about the fighters. But to be fair to Sky, when they had that ringside, they would know when Liam Smith won a world title. They mentioned Liam Smith. They have mentioned Sky. They have mentioned Box Nation fighters in the past, but it's not their job to promote another channel. Like, it's not our job to promote another channel. We can talk about these fighters because we should. That's our duty as we're trying to educate the sports fans. And I think that's the difference. I think with this Sky, they have, for me, what I think, and it's only what I think, they have the boxing fans in their pocket already. BTs are new to the sport, so they have to build their boxing fans base, of course. Sky have a fan base already. Boxing fans are going to tune in to watch any fight because it's boxing. So they're trying to appeal to the generic sport fan. So they'll get Carl Froch. I know Carl Froch gets loads of criticism for his commentary, and that's not my job to say whether he's good or bad or what. But it's irrelevant. He's Carl Froch. So whatever Carl Froch says to Barry Jones, me, well, you're going to listen. If you just don't know boxing too much, but you know sport, you know Carl Froch. He's one of the best fighters we've had in the last 20 odd years. So you're going to listen to him or some baldy guy with a cauliflower ear from Wales who you don't know who he is. You're going to listen to Carl Froch, and rightly so. And that will draw in the fans. And Johnny Nelson's a large life character. Tony Bellews can be great, by the way, but everyone knows who he is. So they get all these people on board, because then the people who don't know the sport as well, just like fair weather, they'll watch it. So BT, we've gone old school and we just gone proper boxing people. They're proper boxing people. I'm not slagging them off. I'm just saying they don't have to go searching for more boxing fans because they got them. That's what I'm trying to say with Sky, where BT are still drawing them in. But it's working. I think we put on some good shows, and I think we'll continue to do so.
And I suppose, like you mentioned, having rival TV companies, and of course MTK involved these online shows, it just increases the amount of boxing and keeps on pushing up the bar in terms of standards.
Listen, MTK could be a danger for all these guys because everything's going to be streamed at the end of the day. You know that probably before we did. You've been involved in it for years, and that's where everything's going in the end. They're hitting the ground running, streaming. So and they tie it with ESPN, which is only the biggest sports channel in the world, like, you know what I mean? And I know it goes on their app. That's still got 2 million subscribers. The channel got 40 odd million subscribers. So, the link up there, I don't know how much trickles down, but the bigger the shows, the more money they'll give. And in a minute, they might not even need Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. They become middlemen. This is just me making things up and just saying that's the potential. They start streaming before Sky do. They're streaming before for BT stream. Who's to say that the Sky and BT just go without the sport? Might be on TV altogether. I don't know how it works, but that's I think an MTK, if they can keep building on this could be something. And I'm in it early. Gotta get that money in.
Okay, thank you, Barry. I've taken up plenty of your time. It's been great to have a chat with you, and enjoy the boxing tonight, and hope we do a good job in the commentary. I'm sure you will. And last question, who's going to win the football tonight, Liverpool or Spurs? Liverpool are massive favourites, and rightly so. I think Spurs, but you'd like to see Spurs do it. I'm not no favourites, just because they had no right to be in Ajax. They had no right to beat them, and it's been a fairy tale for them. And you can't see them ever getting there again, but you can see Liverpool getting back there, maybe even next year. So you half want to Liverpool. It's the underdog. That's why. That's the only reason why. But apart from that, as long as it's a good game, I don't care. It's not Cardiff City. Why do I care? Okay, cheers, Barry. Cheers, mate.